Okay. Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this webinar on motivation at work. I'm Johanna Scholzer. I'm a business psychologist at Thrive, and with me I have Dom, who's also a business psychologist. Hi, Dom.
Hello, Johanna. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, just to let you know, this webinar will be recorded and a link will be sent to you at the end, and it will last approximately 30 minutes, and we will have a 15 minutes Q&A in the end. And if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box, and if you have any comments, please use the chat function, and we will get to them in the end of the session or in between. All right. Yeah, so what will we cover today? What motivation, what motivates us at work, and what is the process behind us taking ownership of your motivation at work, practical tips to increase your motivation, and as I said before, a Q&A session in the end. Today we will talk about various factors why motivation is really relevant for everyone. And there are various reasons actually. Being motivated drives our behavior and performance, makes us creative and increases our vitality and enhances our self-esteem. So in the context of work, finding motivation increases productivity and satisfaction, helps to achieve our individual or the organizational goals, and helps us to manage stress. And yeah, engage in behavior which builds our resilience. And I believe this is something which is relevant for everyone of us, and we should aim to find motivation whenever possible. So what motivates us at work and what is the process behind it? Dom will explain these factors in a bit more in detail in the next slide.
So before I begin, I would just like to ask you a little question. So what motivates you at work? Like, what makes you get up and go into your workplace? Like, what are the factors that, make you stay in your workplace? So if anyone would like to raise their hand, that'd be great. If not, you can use the chat option and you can post it anonymously, and we're just going to read out some, ideas. Should we give it about 3 minutes for that to go through, and then we can continue?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Oh, people having good ideas or good input here. I mean, we can start reading out the first options already, and people can add more if they want to while we're doing that.
Okay, so we've got some that obviously revolve around the success in the role. So that's a really good one, very important. We've got enjoyment, a sense of purpose, helping others, having an interesting role where I'm able to help people. So being there for your team, we've got feedback from line managers and colleagues. It's all about making the difference. So we've got really, really good ideas. So if you still want to keep sharing those, and then we can also go back to them at the end of it, or you're more than welcome to share the ideas amongst yourselves, because at the end of the day, everyone is different. Everyone will have that sense of purpose. So now I'm going to talk to you about some theoretical approaches. So what is motivation? So our motivation is influenced by various factors. So things like environment, work culture. So we're exposed to our own personal attributes like our needs, values, and personality traits, our competencies, and many more. As briefly mentioned before, like everyone is different. So as you can see, everyone has different reasons to be motivated. So there are various theoretical approaches to what motivates us. So some people will speak from a hierarchical order of needs. So that is based on a Maslow's theory. So he was a psychologist who suggested that we first need to be good in health, feel safe and secure, and have meaningful relationships and a feeling of belongingness and confidence before we can reach our full potential and motivation. So relating it back, a lot of people obviously said, like, you know, you want to be part of that team, you want to reach those goals, and you want to help others. So that's really great, because that sort of outlines, you know, the hierarchical Maslow's theory of needs. So we may be driven first to fulfill basic needs, which include things like food, shelter, and safety. In the context of workplace, security includes compensation and job security. So some of us might feel that we do not need to have fulfilled each single stage to be motivated. So this might be very individualistic. So we may all have our personal needs to feel fulfilled and motivated, and sometimes we can ignore a need for something bigger, like if you feel hungry, is the meaning of a task that is very high for us. So another theoretical perspective is that of Herzberg's two-factor theory. So for instance, it implies that the happiest and most productive workforce companies need to work on improving both motivator and hygiene factors. So the theory initially suggests that to help motivate employees, the organization must assure that everyone feels appreciated and supported. They provide plenty of specific and meaningful feedback and understand how individuals can progress professionally within the organization. So these aspects drive intrinsic motivation. So sometimes we get so wrapped up in our daily tasks that we don't realize the subtle ways that we can potentially improve or recognize the areas where we are adding the most value. Like, a lot of people don't like stop and think like, right, what am I actually doing here? A lot of people just, you know, tend to go with the flow of things, and they tend to just know that, okay, this is what I've always been doing, this is the way for me to do it. So it is important to take a moment sometimes to just consult a supervisor or a colleague, like asking them if they think that you're doing a good job, or, you know, if there are other ways that you can improve things. So there's always room to learn and grow in any professional role. So there's no one better to help you target specific areas of growth than people that you interact with daily. So that sort of relates, you know, to having that regular one-to-ones, having that regular conversation with your colleagues. You know, at the end of the day, we're just people, we're just human beings, and, you know, we like to have that sort of conversation and that social aspect within workplace as well. And mutual feedback is also very important. So feedback, in fact, is the key to getting clarity for your next role. Like, so to prevent the job dissatisfaction and satisfy the extrinsic motivational factors, companies must make sure to address the hygiene factors by offering employees the best possible working conditions and fair pay that includes forming and formating supportive relationships with them. So in fact, there's a quote by Herzberg. So he says that in order for true engagement to occur in a company, you must first remove the issues that cause dissatisfaction. The baseline benefits offered by the company that satisfy the hygiene needs of the employee, then you must focus on the individual and what they want of their associations with your enterprise. So that is just a brief quote that basically outlines what we just said before. So it's, you know, it's just creating that safety net, that secure environment for the individuals within the workplace in order for them to be motivated. So motivation may not be a unitary phenomenon, but seen from how much we are motivated and what motivates us, we strive for autonomy, competence, and relatedness or belongingness. So relating it back to great examples that you've all mentioned, at the end of the day, it is being part of the team. Like, there are obviously some financial gains as well that you get from your job role, which, everyone's looking forward to as well. But at the end of the day, you are surrounded within your environment by your people that you will communicate in with every day. So, it's helping each other out as well. So too much or too little autonomy may be strongly influential on our motivation and work satisfaction. So obviously that depends on the individual, and some of us prefer more or less depending on our character and competence. So as we mentioned before, it is important to have those constant and regular one-to-ones to establish, if one isn't supported enough and is not too scrutinized. And so another theoretical approach is the self-determination theory. So that is another approach that outlines that we are motivated in a continuum from extrinsic factors. So these factors are non-self-determined, like reward and punishment, up to intrinsic self-determination, which is our own responsibility. We are self-determined if the task we are doing interests us and we are taking actions to inherently enjoy it. So doing work that is interesting and fulfilling is one of the best ways to ensure you're staying engaged and motivated every day. So someone did mention, doing what you love. That's how you're going to be motivated. But obviously there is a minority of people that don't. So how can we improve that? So we're going to mention that later on in the presentation. So the process behind motivation might be the result of how we compare what we receive to our effort and to other people. So it may also be the result of our belief that we will receive a desired reward. So if we hit an achievable and valid target, so that is the equity theory and expectancy theory. So we can talk to you briefly if you've got any questions about that later on, but we're not going to go into much detail about that. So goal setting may also influence our subsequent performance. So there was a researcher, Edwin Locke, who found that individuals who set specific, difficult goals perform better than those who set general, easy goals. So that was just a brief summary of some theoretical approaches to organizational motivation. So now I'm going to pass to you, Hannah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dom. Before we continue, I would like to share a poll with you. Please feel free to answer as you feel like. So just a short question to see if you feel motivated at work or not, or sometimes just to get an idea about your working life and your motivation. 60% voted for now. Can we get a few more? Yeah, I guess the majority obviously feels motivated. Sometimes we often don't feel motivated all the time, or sometimes it's hard to find the meaning or see the meaning behind something which we're doing right now, which is maybe a bit tiring. So I think we all feel a bit similar here. A few of you answered not at all. We will come back to that later, but yeah, most of you feel at least sometimes motivated at work. So that's really good to see. Thank you. So I understand what's been said might be rather abstract, but these theories aid organizational approaches and conversations and outline various aspects to consider if we want to increase motivation and well-being and work. And we will be more practical in the following, starting with meaning and job crafting. So finding meaning in one's work can be very relevant for motivation. And in some cases, we feel exhausted, not by too much work, but by too little meaningful work. And Chip Conley, the founder of a hotel chain and head of hospitality of an Airbnb, found one way to address this dilemma by helping his employees understand the meaning of their roles during a staff retreat. So what he did is an exercise where he asked groups of housekeepers to describe themselves and their job responsibilities by giving their group a name that kind of reflects the nature and the purpose what they're doing. So they came up with names such as the Serenity Sisters or the Clutterbusters and the Peace of Mind Police. And these designations provide a meaningful rationale and gave them a sense that they were doing more than just cleaning and were instead kind of creating a space for a traveler who was far away, for example, from home to feel safe and protected. And by showing them the value of their roles, this person enabled his employees to feel respected and motivated to work harder. So here I would like to ask you to think about various aspects. So the first one is, do you feel what you do matters? So here you can try to think in a similar manner as the example I just described. Or you can ask yourself, do you feel that the company does something important? Do you feel a connection with the company and other employees? And is there a shared mission or a sense of mission? So for example, here at Thrive, we all share the mission to empower individuals to access the right level of support and sustainably without any barriers. And is there a way you can develop a personal growth and learn something additional? And do you need any resources for that? And if yes, really address them in a meeting with your manager, in a one-to-one with your line manager. So these questions might help you to find this meaning, which is so relevant for us. The next thing is job crafting. So job crafting means that we no longer need to rely on our employer to feel motivated, but rather focus on what we can provide for ourselves. And in general, it means changing your job to make it more engaging and meaningful. So this active performance just implies that you go beyond your assigned task and create some goals and ways of work which will increase your resilience, satisfaction, performance, and engagement in general, and find or create tasks that really utilize your skills. And if your job doesn't quite suit your passion or skill set, find a way to make it fit for you. So for example, if you love to write, you might offer to draft the company newsletter or offer suggestions to your manager about ways you can improve your company's website. Input of a bit of your own personality in your work, and you will find that motivation really takes care of itself. So broadly speaking, you have the opportunity to craft 3 aspects of your job. So you may focus on task crafting, which is similar to what I mentioned before. Or you do relational crafting by focusing on your social network. So what I mean with that is that you could expand your network by getting to know your co-workers, understanding what others are doing in your organization, or take, for example, volunteering initiatives at work. I mean, right now this might be a bit more difficult, but this might be an option for you in the long run. Just having a support system in place at work will help you. It will help actually everyone feel more connected, and as a result, obviously more motivated too. So take some time to chat to your co-workers to build the sense of camaraderie and teamwork. And if you notice someone doing a great job, just let them know. And if someone seems down, ask them how they're feeling. And I can promise you will start hearing similar comments back at yourself. And this is a sense of community, and it's a great way to keep everyone working together and towards a common goal. And finally, there's the third option of job crafting, where you may reframe how you think about your job. So focus on the reasons to work, not the reasons not to. So negative thoughts have a way of kind of festering, growing, and getting worse the more we think and talk about them. Instead of complaining about a terrible coworker or boss or a difficult task, focus on the things you do enjoy, and make a list of the positives in your work and try to think about them every time you hear yourself complaining or thinking about the negatives. And obviously, if there's nothing holding you to the job and you can't find motivation and meaning and ways to do this job crafting or meaning in what you're doing, then it's time to start looking elsewhere. I mean, if you feel like this doesn't work for you at all, this doesn't change anything, maybe it's not the right job for you then. And but first, really try to do those things we mentioned here and see if they work for you. Yeah, just work you enjoy or find meaningful will really motivate you by itself. So this is why it's so important, and it's so important for our well-being too. So the next thing I would like to ask you is really to assess your role and the role you hope to fill at work. So what do you actually do? Like, sometimes getting a fresh sense of your job can help to forget the day-to-day annoyance, which threatens to kind of reduce your motivation, and it helps you to concentrate on actually doing the job. Are there jobs you feel like you could do well? Are there projects you want to tackle in the future? Think about, like, why are you working and why are you well suited for the role or for the job? Also think about, like, where do you see yourself working in 1 or 2 years? Is it still there, or is it maybe somewhere else? And this is just like helps you to progress, and this role helps you to achieve the long-term goal. How's your current role helping you to reach these goals in a way? Like, really, studies indicate that most employees, especially millennials, want to do work that is fulfilling and meaningful. And obviously, this is not always easy to connect to. It's not always easy to connect to this deeper meaning while you're doing those, like, actual daily tasks. But yeah, just why is it that you do that work? Is there, as I said before, is there maybe a long-term goal which helps you to do this task right now? Just find a way to remind yourself how you're contributing to the greater good through the work you're doing right now. And thereby it can help to set yourself, like, goals and really celebrating those milestones. We often forget those, like, small achievements, like finishing a project, or like, yeah, just for example, doing something nice, or like connecting to someone and having a great communicate, or like a great chat with them. Just, like, think about those, like, small milestones which you achieve during your daily life and your normal routine, and really helps you to actually find this, like, positive feeling and the well-being in the end. And working obviously isn't always fun, I know that, but the best way to stay motivated when doing, like, for example, tiresome or tough tasks is to remember this end goal, which I talked about. So the best goals are personal ones, obviously, that means a lot to you. Making it much more easier to motivate yourself after you complete, for example, those milestones, like finishing the first chapter of a manuscript or completing the tiring expense report. Just really reward yourself, and yeah, just reward yourself with whatever feels good for you, and celebrate your accomplishments, and they will become much more meaningful for you too. Your goals don't have to be related to your current job. You could also saving up to go back to school or learn something new, like for example, in a new course, or you can work for like going up your company ladder to do a better job. And I think for this, it can really help to create this personal development plan. And questions you may ask yourself during this personal development plan, which you can do for yourself, are questions like, where are you now? Like, what are you good at? Really think about that. What do you need to work on? Is there something to improve? What help might you need for that? Is it like in new skills learning? Is it something like what you need from your colleague or from your manager? And think about like what might stop you there too. So just think about those aspects while you create this personal development plan. And another question you might ask yourself is like, where do you want to be? So know what drives your goals, be honest with yourself and your capabilities, define milestones along the way. So set yourself like short-term goals, medium ones, and long-term objectives too. Then how will you get there? So the actions you need to achieve these goals, like the success criteria you may, by which you tell whether you achieved those goals, and any necessary resources required, like for example, time, is it money, so finances. Yeah, just think about those, like what do you need for these things? Do you have, yeah, any resources? And if not, address them and find a way, or like ask your line manager if there could be more time, for example, for you to learn this new skill. And if you explain like how it could help them in your current role too, maybe they even like finance you the new skill or the new learning course. And do you feel that you're making a progress? As we heard before with Dom, progress is really important. Is there a feedback system which helps you to assess this progress? So this could be like a mentor, or is it like a role model or a manager? Just think about like how you can get this feedback system in place, which helps you to track your progress. And the final question you may ask yourself is like, how well did you do? Like just as a final one, for your own reflection. Yeah, and before that, one more thing, keep track of your task, and as we said before, mark them when finished. So one quick way to stay motivated at work is to look at what you have completed. Ticking off the to-do list is a good way to show you how much you have done in a day. And it's also a great way to keep track of your overall goals and show yourself how small, seemingly sometimes unimportant tasks come together to complete this larger project and help you to achieve this larger goal. It may also help you to schedule some of the less exciting tasks for the start of your day. Getting them out of the way will allow you to focus on the things you enjoy during the day, and rather than having them constantly in mind, just do them maybe in the morning and then you're done with it, and then you can focus on things you might rather like to do. So Dom will continue with a few more practical steps here.
Thank you, Hannah. So taking care of your body is so crucial. It's so important. Like, a lot of problems with motivation are not due to the fact that you hate your job or your co-workers, which a lot of people don't realize, but it's simply because your body isn't running as effectively as it could be. So you might be feeling tired, out of energy and down. So as a result, you feel unmotivated, but that is something that could be avoided as well. So making sure that you get those 6 to 8 hours of sleep each night, which I know can be so hard, especially now, like, you know, most of the time that, you know, we spend at home because of everything that's going on. But like trying to put like your phone aside, like at least, I don't know, 40 minutes before you go to bed, like read a book or something like that, like just get out of your usual routine that could potentially help you, to get tired more quickly and sleep for a bit longer. So drinking water and staying hydrated throughout the day, that is something that I personally struggle a lot. So what I did is, there are those like 1 litre bottles that you can buy online, and they literally tell you how much water you're supposed to drink between each hour, which I found, that they're amazing. And since I've got one, I just drink so much more. So exercising at least 30 minutes on average 3 to 6 times a week may also help you really stress from the day, especially now since the gyms are open, might as well. So stress can have a significant impact on our motivational states. So trying to address any stresses at home or with your line manager, and practicing relaxation techniques can help you calm you down. So if there were a situation that you felt overwhelmed with at work, trying some deep breathing techniques, or even taking, a 5-minute break just to walk around, but not sitting on your computer desk, can help you, ease yourself in a little bit more and switch off in that time. So if work is causing you to feel stressed, consider writing a wellness action plan and then talking through it with your manager. So initially, what it is a practical tool designed to help you support your mental well-being at work and help your manager to support you better. There are plenty of resources online that can help you to design and write a wellness action plan, or you can use one created by Mind, which is very helpful because it's out there already. So as mentioned briefly before, taking regular breaks that don't need to be longer than 5 to 10 minutes, but they will allow you to give time to recharge your brain, move around a bit, and cut your day into more manageable chunks. So you could head for a brief walk, get a coffee, chat with a co-worker, or simply exercise a bit at your desk. So you could also read an article about something that you enjoy or listen to, some music and stuff. So these are some very basic steps that can be quite hard to implement, especially in your workplace routine. But sometimes it is about changing that habit. It's about changing that behavior that you have. So, taking slow steps. It's sometimes about experimenting, because what will fit your colleague might not be suited for you. So sometimes it's about, okay, today I will try this for a week, and if it doesn't work, I'll try something else for another week. And, it's just about seeing what suits you best. So just to recap, so we've talked about the relevance of motivation for our well-being. We talked about various factors which influence our motivation, so things as safety, feedback, support, autonomy, progression, competence, belongingness and reward, and the goals. So these are obviously some of the things that you've outlined in the chat as well, which was great. Johanna talked about job crafting, so the 3 important components, which include task, relationships and cognition. We talked about some theoretical brief approaches of motivation in the psychological background, and we talked about how you can create the personal development plan, set goals and celebrate those small milestones that you have, and some very, very brief ideas of self-care that we just mentioned now. So if you've got any questions, if any one of you would like to raise your hand, or you can use the chat option, we're going to give it about 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. If anyone's interested, just drop it down below.